So what just is the best interviewing and interrogation technique? Let's find out with tip number 35. Hi, welcome back. Stan Walters with you again on 101 Tips for Interviewers and Interrogators. This is tip number 35. Now, there's a question I'm asked a lot, and you may have considered, just what is the best interviewing and interrogation technique? What's the one that does the best? Well, I'm afraid that Curly from City Slickers by Jack Palance, his idea there's just one thing, he's wrong. There's just not one interviewing interrogation technique or style that takes care of every situation. That's the key. How are you intending to deploy or use the technique or method? I mean, consider this. For example, does a plumber show up at a job with just one wrench? No, he's got all different types of sink wrenches, he's got pipe wrenches, he's got channel locks and different tools and so forth. Will they use every tool every single time? Of course not. But it's sure nice to have that tool when you need it and when that opportunity or situation arises, you need that specific tool. So that's the thing we need to think of about interviewing and interrogation. Now, there's some overarching things I think you need to consider. First of all, is the technique that you're picking up, is it an accusatory style or it's a narrative-based style? I know I live on this a lot, but I've been seeing so much trouble, and for 60 years this has been a problem. Accusatory style is very destructive to the interview process, very destructive for victims and witnesses, a lot of problems with contamination. So first, look for an interviewing format that you would find is a narrative-based or information-gathering technique. That's the first thing to look at. Now, under that umbrella, you can have several different methodologies, several different tools, if you will. Okay? For example, the program that I work on is Practical Kinetic Interview and Interrogation. In our area, I have two different sets of primary courses. Number one is Mastering the Narrative-Based Interview. Second level is the Science of Interviewing and Interrogation, the Ethics and Techniques of Influence and Tactics. Then I have a level 3 and 4, we get practical exercises. Now, there you find other techniques that do that, and I focus a lot on what's called reality monitoring in the narrative-based format, because it's been shown ethically to glean a minimum of 60% more information from the interview, and it works with victims, witnesses, and subjects. So it has pretty good universal appeal. Now, there can be some limitations. What if I have to interview an enormous number of people? I mean, a great volume of people. Maybe you have a lot of witnesses or a lot of folks are actually involved in a victim situation. Now it's going to be kind of hard to deploy that many interviewers per subject, per person, because of the time lag that's going on and limited resources. What you can use there is what's called criteria-based content analysis. Now you can get the folks together, and just as an example, you could put them in a room and say, okay, everybody listen, you got a paper in front of you, here's what I want you to do. Tell me what happened. Start from here, move forward, don't leave anything out. Now you notice this is an information gathering format, is it not? Which you said it's the best interviewing style. Now you can have, just pick a number, let's say 30 people working on it at one time, saving time and getting all that information at once in a group setting, as long as you let them talk to each other, and get the details from them. Then you can go through and you can pick out the ones that need to follow up, do a quick perusal, and do your analysis. Follow what I'm saying here? Okay. So you can take each of those individual interviews and break them down. Now you can save resources. Now this is particularly important using a face-to-face interview versus a criteria-based content analysis. If you've got a lot of restriction on time, there may be situations where you need to do the face-to-face, or a criteria-based content analysis statement may be too labor-intensive and take too long, such as you have a field interview, incident response. For example, I work a lot with EPA people, environmental protection folks, water quality, mine and strip services, strip mining services, and air quality folks, or OSHA investigators are in my group, or product control or product safety people. And so we're looking for a failure of a product, we're looking for an incident, or for attorneys who do briefing clients. Follow? So in the first responder, it may be more beneficial and effective at that time to use a face-to-face, like practical kinetic interview and interrogation. But then in other settings, you have criteria content analysis. So my suggestion is, don't just settle on one, get you some more tools. Another idea Look at the work of Dr. Paul Ekman, Marino Sullivan, Dr. David Matsumoto, and look at micro-expressions. Very critical, and those will be implemented can be implemented in criteria-based content analysis to some extent, but also easy to implement and to merge with practical kinetic interview interrogation. If you've not looked at it, the work of Dr. Ekman since about 1984, and I believe that's about right, he spent years looking at the emotional reactions of people and found that emotional lies are the hardest ones to perpetuate. Emotional lies are the hardest ones to disguise. And he found 7 primary facial expressions across all cultures and all groups that are very difficult to falsify or to hide. They call them micro-momentary leaks of information. So add that to your repertoire. So the best advice I'll give you about picking your interviewing and interrogation tactics and what's the best philosophy, that's the key. Look at the philosophy. If the techniques you're using employs information gathering, narrative-based interviewing, that's going to give you the best results. Now, the specific tool, whether it's the face-to-face, whether it's a criteria-based content analysis, whether you're deploying some micro-expression analysis along the way, learn as many of those tools as you can. Learn to be effective with several different methodologies, because there's going to be times and venues when you find one is more effective or it's more easy to deploy than another one, or give you the results you want in a particular situation, such as first response, long involved investigation, a large group of people. But the interviewer that shows up has got the most tools and has had the broadest range of experience. That's the one that's going to succeed. Now, before we take off, if you will, please, be sure to click the like button below. If you will, I really do appreciate that. Drop in some comments about your experiences with interviewing and interrogation and your choices that you use and your particular techniques and how you may have blended certain skills and tactics to make them fit for a particular problem that you have. So be sure here, right at the left, if you just happen to drop in, please subscribe to the channel so you can get the rest of the tips that are coming along. I've got a new course that's just up over my on-demand courses here, interviewing the angry subject. And in the future, we're going to talk about reaction response behaviors. This will be one of them that we'll deal with. So until then, gang, be safe. See you back for tip number 36.